The streets of New York City never sleep. They hum with life, cars honking, people rushing, sirens wailing, and amid it all, a voice, soft at first, then rising above the city's noise. Liam Walker, 24, stood at his usual corner near Washington Square Park, strumming his old guitar. His voice cracked slightly, not from lack of talent, but from cold air, exhaustion, and life's unrelenting pace. His guitar case lay open in front of him. Inside, a few crumpled dollar bills and coins. Nothing close to what he needed. Liam wasn't just a street performer chasing a dream. Music was his lifeline. Orphaned young, raised by his grandmother who recently passed away, Liam had no family, no fallback plan, no safety net. Just this guitar, and the hope that someone, someday, would really listen. He spent hours every day on that corner. Rain, snow, wind, it didn't matter. He played with his heart, hoping to make enough to eat, maybe save up for a better mic, or one day, record his songs in a real studio. Most people didn't stop. A few glanced his way, maybe dropped a coin. Some just passed, headphones in, eyes down. But still, Liam sang with everything he had. Songs of heartbreak, of dreams, of survival. He didn't have a social media following, no viral moment, no manager, just raw talent and raw struggle. Little did he know, someone very unexpected was about to listen. That morning had been tough. A cold front had moved in, and Liam's fingers struggled to move across the strings. He thought about giving up early, finding somewhere warm. But as he finished a cover of All Too Well, yes, Taylor Swift's song, something caught his eye. A woman stood at the edge of the small crowd. Hood up, sunglasses on. He didn't recognize her at first. Why would he? But her posture, her stillness, was different. And then, she pulled down her sunglasses. It was Taylor Swift. Liam nearly choked on the next note. His fingers froze. The world slowed down. Was this real? Was he hallucinating? Taylor offered a small nod. Just enough to say, "Keep going." He did. With shaking hands, he started playing one of his own songs. A soft, melancholic melody he'd written about his grandmother. His voice wavered at first, but then something shifted. He poured everything into that song. By the time he finished, a hush had fallen over the crowd. A small group had gathered, drawn in by something authentic, something powerful. Taylor clapped. And then, she stepped forward. She didn't make a big scene, no entourage, no cameras, just Taylor, stepping up to a stunned street musician. "That was beautiful," she said. Liam blinked. Thank you. Are you, really?" She smiled. "Yeah. And I meant it. You wrote that?" He nodded, still gripping his guitar like a lifeline. Taylor looked around. "You do this every day?" Liam swallowed. "Yeah, it's all I've got." She paused, as if weighing a decision. Then, "Let's change that." Before Liam could respond, Taylor reached into her bag, pulled out a business card, and handed it to him. "Call this number. Today. Tell them I sent you." Liam looked at the card, hands trembling. It had a studio's name, one of the biggest in the city. "I don't know what to say," he whispered. Taylor smiled. "Say yes." And just like that, she slipped back into the crowd and was gone. Liam stood there for a long time, staring at the card. Was this real? Was this really happening? As he slowly packed up his guitar, a few people came over. "Dude, was that really Taylor Swift?" Liam nodded, still dazed. One person smiled. "Man, I think your life's about to change." And it was only the beginning. Liam barely slept that night. The card with Taylor Swift's handwritten note sat on his nightstand like a treasure. Every time he glanced at it, he had to remind himself it wasn't just some dream. The smooth texture of the cardstock, the embossed studio logo, and the scrawled note at the bottom, "See you soon, T.S.," felt surreal. By morning, sleep-deprived but buzzing with adrenaline, he stared at his phone for 20 minutes before finally calling the number. His hands shook. "Hello, Swift Studios. We've been expecting your call." Liam nearly dropped the phone. Somehow, that voice on the other end made it all real. Within hours, he was on a train heading uptown, his guitar case clutched like a lifeline. He could barely sit still. When he arrived at the glass-fronted building, he stood on the sidewalk for several minutes, just looking up. People in suits and creatives with headphones bustled past, and for a moment Liam hesitated. Was he really about to walk into Taylor Swift's recording studio? He stepped inside. The smell of polished wood, leather, and brewing coffee hit him instantly. Everything gleamed. Awards lined the walls. He felt out of place in his threadbare jacket and scuffed shoes. But then a friendly voice called out, "Liam Walker? Welcome. Taylor told us you'd be in today. Come on in." He was guided through the halls, past studios where top-tier artists were recording, and into Studio B, a room more expensive than anything he'd ever imagined. A sound engineer waved. "Ready to record? Let's hear what you've got." Liam swallowed his nerves and stepped into the booth. At first, his hands trembled on the strings. His voice cracked. But slowly, the nerves faded. He lost himself in the music, the same song he sang on the street, now echoing in a room built for sound. The warmth of the wood, the clarity of the speakers, it elevated everything. The producer's voice came through the headphones. "That's beautiful, Liam. Let's get that down. One more take." Hours passed. He recorded 2 original songs, one about his grandmother, and one about dreams that won't die. The team was impressed, not just with the rawness of his voice, but with the soul behind it. When he stepped out of the booth, the producer clapped him on the back. "Taylor was right. You're the real deal." Liam couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in years, he felt like he belonged. As Liam was packing up, the studio assistant returned. "Taylor wants you back tomorrow. She has something for you." Liam froze. Another surprise? The next day, dressed in his cleanest clothes, Liam arrived early. He was led into a private lounge, plush and comfortable. He didn't sit. He couldn't. Minutes later, Taylor walked in, dressed casually in jeans and a cozy sweater, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Good to see you again, rock star." Liam grinned nervously. "Thanks again. For all of this." She waved it off. "You did the hard part. I just opened a door. I've heard your songs. They're powerful. People need to hear them." She handed him an envelope. "This will help." Inside was a check, enough to cover several months of rent, equipment upgrades, and living costs. Liam's mouth fell open. "Taylor, I can't accept this." "You can, and you will," she said, smiling. "You've earned it. And there's more." She pulled out another card, a pass to perform as an opener at a private showcase event next week. "You'll be sharing the stage with some incredible talent. I want people to hear you. You ready?" Liam's heart raced. I think so." Taylor winked. "You'll be great. I'll be there, front row." The night of the showcase, Liam waited backstage, heart pounding. The venue was packed. Industry insiders, media, fans, they were all there. He peeked through the curtain and saw Taylor in the front row, smiling, giving him a thumbs up. When they called his name, he stepped into the spotlight. For a moment, the world was silent. Then he began to play. the same song from the street corner. But now, it echoed through a room filled with people who were really listening. When he finished, there was silence again. Then thunderous applause. Taylor stood, clapping, tears in her eyes. Backstage, she hugged him. Told you, the world needed your voice. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. His tracks hit streaming platforms. Social media exploded. He got offers from managers, labels, agents. But through it all, Liam stayed grounded. He returned to that street corner, this time not to perform for change, but to inspire. He played one last time, for old time's sake, and whispered to the crowd, "Never give up. You never know who's listening." And that brings us to the end of this story. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more emotional and powerful stories. Remember, sometimes all it takes is one person to see you. Thank you for watching.